let's just quickly go into the more serious nature of what's happening, because we have here's a story. This is one of the most recent stories we've been able to find. ABC 7 reporting at 7 p.m. 13 U.S. service members killed in Kabul airport attacks. Biden says attackers will pay. We will not forgive. We will not forget. We will hunt you down and make you pay, Biden said. 2 suicide bombers and gunmen attacked crowds of Afghans flocking to Kabul's airport Thursday, transforming a scene of desperation into one of horror in the waning days of an airlift for those fleeing the Taliban takeover. The attacks killed at least 60 Afghans and 13 U.S. troops, Afghan and U.S. officials. I think one of the most harrowing things I heard was a man who was an interpreter for the Marine Corps called into Fox News and said that after the blast, there was a 5-year-old little girl that he was trying to resuscitate, and she died in his arms. This didn't have to happen. Why are we in this mess?
None of this had to happen. So much of the criticism that has been directed at the Biden administration, which, by the way, they've tried to deflect by conflating criticism for how we are withdrawing with the very sort of non-existent criticism that we should have never left. The main argument isn't we shouldn't leave Afghanistan. I think most people actually do support that. A lot of polling shows that, especially recent polling. The criticism is for how we have done it. In the weeks since this has happened, it has been clear that everything they have done has been made up as they go. There was no plan. They claim they planned for all contingencies. Clearly, they did not. They evacuated the military before they evacuated our allies and civilians.
In the dead of night, no less.
And they didn't inform the field commander at Bagram Air Base, by the way. They didn't tell the Afghani commander. They just Irish goodbye overnight. Wow. After 20 years, it's like a bad boyfriend. So one thing that I hear repeatedly when I criticize or I talk about this on social media or write about it, or these kind of, the Twitter Biden stands respond with, "Oh, could you be doing it better?" Yes, I could. Number one, don't you evacuate your civilians first, leave your military there as a rear guard, then you take out your combat troops. Don't close down Bagram. It has 2 airstrips. It's also secluded and strategically situated. Instead, they've bottlenecked everyone in an international airport in Kabul that's surrounded by the Taliban, and we're now completely dependent on whether or not the Taliban will pretty please let our people live.
It's how many people in Kabul? 5 million or something like that?
Roughly, I'd have to double check. But so it's a very dense, urban, populated area, and now we're asking our soldiers and Marines and everyone else over there to essentially ferry these people to safety, despite the fact they're completely surrounded.
This needs to be stressed to all of the people who are desperate to say it's not Biden's fault. First thing I'll give you is when they say it's George W. Bush's fault, I go, all right, well, to a certain degree, I would agree with that. But Donald Trump had a peace deal and a plan for the evacuation, for the pullout. And yeah, I don't think Joe Biden had a plan.
No, that's the thing, too, is like, look, we can say Trump's plan was garbage. We can say it was ill-advised. We can say it was stupid. That doesn't matter. Biden is not beholden to it. He's a grown-ass president. He can make his own decisions, and he has shown repeatedly he has no problem overturning Trump executive actions, Trump policies, or anything else related to Trump. He ran on the fact that he would overturn everything. So the idea that, because he's been striking this bizarre tone where it's paradoxical, where he says, no, yeah, I made the decision because I care about America. Also, my hands are tied. What can I do? And
but
so
this is already, we got to break this down and make sure everybody understands this. The original deadline was May 1st. Mm-hmm. You should not, in the middle of the night, skip out on your strategic Air Force base, which is, I believe, about 45 miles outside of Kabul. Mm-hmm. That it's got, 2 runways? 2
runways, yeah.
So, I mean, the first thing I started reading when I'm reading from the opinions of national security experts, military experts in these various op-eds, why did they, in the middle of the night, abandon the base along with our resources, our weapons, just the Black Hawk helicopters, and then say, okay, now for everybody who's still there, if you want to leave, go to the airport. What? I'm confused. I'm genuinely confused because let me just stress this point. Either they're really, really dumb or they did it on purpose.
This is something we keep coming back to, where the old saying is never attribute malice to that which can be explained simply by stupidity.
Hanlon's razor.
Yes,
thank you.
My favorite.
But you looking at this is how we left military aircraft, which now the Taliban have, and they're almost certainly going to sell that to the Chinese or Russians to disseminate and study and make their own versions. We left hundreds of guns. We left millions of dollars. We left trucks. And then again, taking military out first doesn't make any sense. You look at this and you go, why and how? I keep getting stuck on that. And this sort of the nonsensical approach that Biden has taken to this every step of the way is we had to get out. And then when the Taliban came and overran the country, nobody saw this would happen. Then the bombs go off today, and essentially it's, well, this is why we have to leave. And also, we have to leave and also send in more troops because we now need to go get the people who did this. What is there a plan?
Where is the political commentary gone from? What, a couple days ago it was, this is literally Trump's plan. It's Trump's fault. Now they're saying bombs go off all the time in Afghanistan. That's why we're leaving.
Mm-hmm. But so it goes to the point. We're like, who cares if this is Trump's thing? You are president now. Today, he was asked at his press conference, President Biden was, is if he takes full responsibility for the dead Marines and the Navy medic, the corpsman. And he answered, not even loosely paraphrasing, I take full responsibility. But remember, this was Trump's plan.
That's what he said.
He did say that. He was responding to Peter Doocy at Fox News.
Trump's plan was not to leave in August.
Right.
It was May 1st.
That's the other thing to point out is that he keeps saying, I am tied to what Trump did. They already blew through the deadline established by the Trump administration. And the point we keep coming back to is Trump's plan didn't involve shuttering Bagram, getting the military out first, and then abandoning U.S. nationals and our allies. That was never in the Trump plan.
It's hard for me to believe they're this dumb, to be completely honest, because you know that if you pull the military out before the civilians and you abandon an Air Force base, you know this is going to happen.
So, I mean,
look,
we keep coming back. Is it stupidity? Because they say we didn't have any intelligence. General Malice said we didn't have anything indicating that the Taliban would essentially retake the entire country within 7 days. The intelligence community is saying otherwise. This is like the line from the old Dire Straits song, is that two men say they're Jesus, one of them's got to be wrong. Yeah. That's what this feels like. Okay, somebody's not telling the truth right now. There got to be hearings on this.
I mean, they knew. Of course they knew they were ready to take the country in 7 days. They'd known that we were evacuating for like 8 months. They've been ready for this moment.
No, but we weren't supposed to pull logistics and support for the Afghan security forces.
Yeah, they smelled blood and they seized the opportunity.
Well, there were videos going back a month or two ago where the Afghan commandos were fighting back. And then when there's this video, it's horrifying. They run out of ammo, so they surrender. And the Taliban comes in and executes them all, films it all, and puts it on the internet. So they didn't immediately just say, we give up. No, the Biden administration abandoned them, as you mentioned, didn't even tell was it the commander, the Afghan forces commander?
He was the airfield commander there.
Just gone.
Bagram?
Yeah, at Bagram. He was the Bagram commander of the Afghan army.
I'm looking at a satellite image of Bagram and Kabul. Who in their right mind would think that evacuating Bagram would make any sense? If you look on the map,
people to, yeah,
they're like in a valley together, Kabul and Bagram, surrounded by mountains, like defensible location. Why would they abandon that airstrip?
The only way you can get to that airstrip is with trucks or with what's the word I'm looking for? With an air force. Neither of which, well, the Taliban have trucks, but they have an air force now.
Yeah, they do.
Because we abandoned Bagram. This is the thing. Biden also claimed today that he was advised by his top commanders and military advisors that Bagram could be left because it didn't provide much of a strategic output. So, like, again, I don't want to jump on the impeach train or whatever too soon, but at this point, there need to be hearings, especially now that American blood has been shed, which I just want to clarify. One of the more really irritating and insidious narratives that has been kind of bubbling up in the press right now is, well, not a lot of Americans have died. I'm like, yeah, what about our Afghan allies who are being hunted? They're being executed. Their homes are being, door to door. They're being dragged out in the street. They're being tortured. That doesn't matter just as long as American blood's not shed.
And now they're saying, well, the bombs go off. It happens all the time. And of course, that's why we're getting out in the first place. It's not Biden's fault. No, I'll tell you what I said, what many people said, what almost every single person we've had on this show has said. It is such common sense. Abandoning American citizens in Kabul, abandoning Bagram Air Force Base, you better prepare yourself for what's to come the next several days when we start seeing the blood of Americans and our allies. Now, what we're seeing here, man, it's like it's got getting punched in the gut because we knew it was bad already. Mm-hmm. And I kind of feel like in the past few days, I was thinking like, wow, Biden screwed this one up. But hearing that they were securing the airport and they were getting out, I was like, okay, he botched this. Americans are going to be stranded. But maybe this ends at the very least without reaching this level. Like I didn't. Part of me, I guess, wanted to hold out, thinking like we're not going to see bombs going off at the airport.
I guess I'll just disagree. I thought the moment that they bottlenecked themselves in Kabul, surrounded by the Taliban, we're completely at the mercy.
What I'm saying, emotionally. I was sitting here thinking like it's going to be okay. Like the Americans are in trouble, that I get. Our allies, they're in there, but I have a feeling like there's a chance that we're gonna at least just taper off here. It's not gonna escalate to that point. And I think it was me being, I was just naively hopeful.
Well,
you know
but
what
also,
I mean?
like I was saying before the show too, the Taliban, I think the Taliban wants to be recognized legitimately as the government of Afghanistan, so they're willing to play ball here and make sure these people get out safely. But there's lots of rogue elements with explosives that want to kill.
Well, ISIS-K has claimed responsibility for the bombing today, which apparently ISIS-K is the off branch of the old ISIS. But to your point, I think a lot of us are going to have to prepare ourselves emotionally, mentally, spiritually, whatever, for if there are Americans left behind, which I guess I should add right now, the White House is very clearly signaling that they themselves believe Americans will be left behind. They will be captured, and we will see happen to them most likely what ISIS has done to their prisoners. They line them up in their orange suits and they make propaganda out of them.
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. If you want to see the full show, come back to this channel, youtube.com/TimcastIRL, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., where you can leave comments and super chat, and we actually will read your comments on the show. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and if you want exclusive members-only content, segments you can't get anywhere else, go to timcast.com, become a member, and we even have full bonus episodes. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.